Well, good morning. It's New Thought Talk. I'm the Reverend Steve Walling from the Spiritual Awareness Center located in beautiful downtown Madera, and I'm looking forward to today's show. I've got a guest that's we've gone international today. My guest is the Reverend Tim Peterson from the Center for Spiritual Living in Edmonton Metro. He is working to put together, or he's put together the 7th Annual New Thought Canadian Conference, and I'm going to have him here. Let's bring him in. Go ahead. Tim, can you hear me?
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. So you are the minister of the Center for Spiritual Living in Edmonton Metro, and you are holding the New Thought, or the New Thought Canadian Conference, right?
It's the 7th Annual New Thought Conference.
That's very cool. So this is 7th year. Have you been behind it for the other years prior to this, Tim?
No, it's been other centers throughout Canada that have run it. We just decided to throw our hat into the ring this year.
Well, very good. So before we get started into the actual conference itself, Tim, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, how you got into New Thought? You are a religious science minister, and how you came to the center you're at. Kind of give me your history, if you would, for our audience.
Sure, Steve. I was raised again in a Mormon tradition. It was interesting for me that my family is devout in that faith, but I find myself right from 8 years old thinking that there's something great, something that just wasn't fitting with me, and I just really didn't know what it was, because I loved the camaraderie of the church and that sort of thing, but there was just something missing. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what it was, and I went through life kind of following the rules, and then came to the realization at one point that I think the rules.
Okay, Tim, I'm going to need to interrupt you because we're having some audio issues. Bill, what if we stopped the video portion and just went with the audio? It's not going to change? Okay. Well, Tim, I just don't think it's going to work. We're hearing about every other part of every other word. We'll try it again if you're up for it in a couple of weeks. So see if we can do that, okay?
Steve, thanks.
All right. I'm sorry. But anyway, Tim's got a conference going up there, and I'll take a moment and share a little bit about it. It's May 30th to June 1st. It can be found online at the www.spiritualevolution.ca. There's a phone number there that you can call to find out about it. Area code 780-297-5544. And it's Reverend Tim Peterson from the Center for Spiritual Living in Edmonton Metro. And hopefully we'll be able to have Tim back, and we'll get some better audio and where we can share this. Because I'm really excited about this. New Thought is such a powerful, powerful teaching that changes lives in so many different ways that it's just unimaginable. And to watch people experience life situations, life problems, and have no understanding of where to go or where to turn, and somehow, some way, Spirit, God leads them to a new thought, to a spiritual awareness center or a center for spiritual living or a unity church or something like that, and they walk through the doors and they hear a message. And we call it New Thought because it is a new message for this millennium, for the world, although the phrase New Thought is not necessarily new, but people hear this, and for the first time, they hear that there's hope. There's hope for them, that they are not separate, they're not alone, they're not an individualized person that's out there, that's marginalized, they're not being judged, they're not having to worry about whether their next decision is going to lead to a eternal damnation or to something else. And so they hear this New Thought message. And what is the message? The message is that there is just one that we call Spirit, God, universal intelligence. We know it by many different names, but it is the source of all creation. It is the divine creator. And as such, that's all there is. There's only that and nothing else. And when we begin to realize that there's just that and nothing else, all of a sudden, there's a whole teaching that has to be marginalized and put by the wayside. There's a whole understanding that there cannot be God in something in opposition to God, that there's only God, and God is a God of love, a God of unity, a God of harmony, a God of peace, and that God is not only available to each and every one of us, but it is manifest within each and every one of us. And what an incredible message for someone that is lost, for someone that has experienced life of limitation, lack, disease, poverty, whatever it is, to realize that they can start right where they're at, and that they're not condemned, that their past is not held against them, that they are not judged, but they are in fact the divine manifest as them, and all of the great gift of the divine is available to them. And all they have to do is make that realization within themselves, to open themselves up to a greater good, that there is a greater God of love that is out there for them. And they hear this message when they come to New Thought Centers. They hear that there is a peace and a harmony in the world, and that what we see doesn't necessarily represent the truth of what is. And that God is not truth, but truth is God. And although that may be a subtle difference, the idea is oftentimes in many different philosophies, we say that God is truth, but then we define God. So therefore we define truth. And truth becomes defined in our own particular philosophy, whatever it might be. But when we understand that truth is God, there's only one truth. And whatever that is, whether we know it or not, that is the manifest spirit of the universe, the creative force. And it is our spiritual journey to uncover that within ourselves, to open ourselves up to it, to be able to experience it in our lives. And as we do, it manifests and demonstrates in our lives the greater truth of what it is. And that's what's exciting about being able to have this show, to be able to share with you, my audience, this understanding that there is a power and a presence for good in the universe, and it is available to each and every one of us. And all we have to do is to stop and clear our minds of all the static, all the old dogma, all the old theology, and open up to a realization of this absolute truth, that there is a creator God, that is a supportive God, it is manifest in each and every one of us. And so this is the new message. This is the new thought. When Ernest Holmes wrote the Science of Mind book in 1938, he believed at that time that this was the new philosophy for mankind. And it wasn't that he was the original thinker of this. What he said was he was the original compiler of thought that goes back to the ancient ages, if you will. You know, predating the biblical writings in the Old and New Testament, and coming all the way up through the modern times, what modern thinkers have thought. And so this teaching today is here. Unfortunately, what happens and has happened is it's been marginalized by a greater publicity, if you will, of teachings that teach a vengeful God, a judgmental God, a God that is partial to certain people on many different levels, in many different ways, in many different parts of the world. There's no one particular part of the world that has a corner on on teaching a vengeful God or a judgmental God, but there is a new thought that is in the world, and that new thought is that there is but one God, one love, one available to each and every one of us. And at the level that we open ourselves up to that one, we can experience its divine presence because it's already in us. And that was, as we teach in religious science, that was the message of the person that we call the great teacher, the great example, not the great exception. Jesus the Christ, he taught that there is but one, that the Father and I are one. And the I that he was speaking of was not a separate I, but the general I of all of us. And that the kingdom of God is to be found within, and that's within each and every one of us. That heaven and hell is what we create for ourselves here on earth. But there is just one, and there's only that one. And so that's the good news. That's what we talk about. That's what we teach about in our philosophy of New Thought religious science. And on that note, we're going to take our first commercial break, and I'll see you when we come back.
This segment brought to you by Javita Coffee. Are you losing weight drinking coffee? Find out how Javita can change your life.
Watch Tim Thiessen live Wednesdays at 3 p.m. right here on CentralValleyTalk.com and on digital channel 33.2. If you missed the live broadcast, we're on every Wednesday night at 11 p.m. on Comcast channel 200 and digital channel 43.5. You don't want to miss this.
Hey, my name's Chris DeVold, the host of Sex Drugs Chris DeVold. I've been on CentralValleyTalk.com for 8 months partying on Tuesday nights, but guess what? The party's moving nights. Now I'm on Friday nights at 8 p.m. Apparently the party was just too much on Tuesday nights. So join me on CentralValleyTalk.com where I promise to bring you one live music act a week. Sex Drugs Chris DeVold, Friday nights, 8 p.m. on CentralValleyTalk.com.
This just in. Tower District houses are selling for as little as $300 per month. If you have a job and decent credit, you can own your own home. If you can come up with a down payment, you can own a home a lot cheaper than you can rent, and your payment will never go up. Also, you could deduct most of your house payment from your income taxes. If you'd like to lock in your monthly house payment at $300 to $500 per month for the next 30 years, call Mike Briggs Properties, 486-6758. Mike Briggs Properties, 486-6758.
Hi, Stan Gross of Horn Photo. Are you looking for a camera that takes better pictures than your phone? Why not give Horn Photo a shot? We can show you fantastic cameras from Nikon, Canon, Sony, and GoPro. Your time is valuable, so before you buy from Costco, Best Buy, or the internet, come see us. We've got great prices and deals, super knowledgeable staff, and we've been selling cameras in Fresno for 76 years. We're in the Villaggio at Blackstone and Nees, or go to hornphoto.com, Fresno's Camera Center.
I'm Mike Briggs, owner and CEO at CentralValleyTalk.com. If you like talk radio, you'll love CentralValleyTalk.com. All local, all live, all the time, CentralValleyTalk.com.
Hey everybody, let's have some fun. Right. You only live once, and when you're dead, you're done. So let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. Let the good times roll.
Watch Mike and Athena Fridays at 1 p.m. on CentralValleyTalk.com.
Hi, my name is Bonnie, and I'm a show producer here at CentralValleyTalk.com. We have a lot of great shows that you can share your business with our viewers. I'd love for you to give me a call. My number is 559-289-9687.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Well, welcome back to New Thought Talk. I am the Reverend Steve Walling from the Spiritual Awareness Center located in beautiful downtown Madera. And so today, we had a little technical difficulty at the beginning, so we're working through some other things. And I want to talk about, as we went to the commercial break, was talking about this fellow that we call the Master Teacher. And I want to read you something from the Science of Mind book. And it says, "Who is Christ? The Son, the begotten of the only Father, not the only begotten Son of God. The mystical conception of Christ means the universality of sonship, embodied in any individual who recognizes this sonship. Meister Eckhart, one of the great mystics of the Middle Ages, said, "God never begot only one Son, but the eternal is forever begetting the only begotten." This conveys the same sense as our New Testament statement, world without end. This world forms and disintegrates as the body does, but creation goes on forever. And that's the understanding that this Christ is within each and every one of us. It's not somebody that lived 2,000 years ago and then disappeared from the face of the earth, but it is here eternally in each and every one of us. It is that oftentimes we call it the God within. In the Eastern philosophies, you'll hear people, they greet each other, namaste, and that is the spiritual essence within me. The God within me recognizes the God that is within you. And this teaching goes back, like I said in the last segment, thousands of years before the advent of the written part of the Old Testament. It goes back a long time. These teachings are not new. They're extremely old, and they keep resurging throughout the history of mankind. Even though we've had various philosophies that have been predominant during a particular era or time, there is an underlying truth that tends to percolate to the top. Meister Eckhart, he was a mystic in the Middle Ages, and he got it. There was a fellow by the name of Michael Servetus Villanovus, who at the time of the Protestant Reformation had written a treatise on the idea that God was just one, and ultimately he was burned at the stake as a heretic for that. You understand, or we understand, that as we come into the modern age, in New Thought, we have a fellow that his name is Phineas Quimby, and Quimby understood or discovered within his workings that there was a way to treat people that would create a healing. And on that, there's been a whole philosophy that's been built, and we come up to the modern times where we have teachings like unity, we have religious science, we have divine science, and these various different New Thought philosophies. And they all look at this from one basic particular point of view, and that is that there's a unity of one, that God is everywhere, everything. There's nowhere that God is not. And that within each and every one of us, there is this life consciousness, this Christ consciousness. And as we unfold in our understanding, in our awareness, and we awaken to that which is within us, we have the ability to create our life as it was meant to be. God did not create us to live in poverty. God did not create us to live a life of limitation and lack and dis-ease. God created us in God's likeness and God's image so that we could live a life of abundance and a life of good. And our mission, if you will, our journey, our spiritual path on this physical plane is awakening to that fact. And oftentimes that awakening for some of us comes at a later part of life, and some of us it comes in an earlier part of life, and it comes at various degrees depending on where we're at in our life's journey. But it is awakening to a greater truth. Some people live a life entirely at a level of spiritual unconsciousness, and that's fine, that's where they're at. But as you wake up to your spiritual desire, that urge that is within you, that says, I know that there's something more within me. I know that there's something greater in life than just living this expression that I've been living. And it's not stuck in some old dogma. It's not stuck or tied to an old theology. And it's not something that holds me down, that keeps me in a position of being judged, or that because of a fear of a certain condemnation that I have to live my life in fear of the divine. But it is a realization of an understanding, an awakening to the fact that there is this greater good that we call God that is available to each and every one of us. And then as we begin to walk our spiritual path and we begin to work on unfolding that Christ consciousness from within ourselves, our life all of a sudden begins to unfold for us. You know, there are tools that we can use. We use affirmations, we use meditations. We begin to see that as we go through our day-to-day life experience, our moment-to-moment experience, we call it practicing the presence of the divine, or practicing the presence of God that is there for us. And it's amazing when you begin to do this, what transforms in your life. And it's not only in your life, but it's the lives of the people around you. All of a sudden, people begin to notice that you have changed, but they also begin to experience changes within themselves. And this is the greater truth, that as we change within ourselves, we actually change the world around us. You know, if you look at the history of mankind going back thousands of years, it was pretty barbaric and pretty crude. And over a period of time, mankind's consciousness has evolved, and it has continued to evolve. And yes, there are parts and places in the world today where there's still a lot of barbarism that is present. But you look at mankind as a whole, we have raised our level of consciousness to the point that the world is ready now for this message of a divine love, a message of a divine creator that is here and available to each and every one of us, and that we don't have to live a life of condemnation. We don't have to live a life of judgment or judging others, that we can nurture our oneness within ourselves, and as we do, we create a greater reality of good in the whole life expression itself, in the entire world. And the world is ready for that message. The world is starved for that message, if you will, because for so long we have been repressed and held down by old teachings and old thoughts and old ways of thinking. So today, as we realize this on a spiritual level, the exciting news is that in the scientific community, they're beginning to realize that there are things that are going on in our mind that are so absolutely incredible in the world of science, that research after research is unfolding this power of mind that we're beginning to see. But yet, New Thought has been, on one level or another, talking about this exact thing from a spiritual perspective. And this is exciting stuff. There is a evolution, an urge, a movement within the world to see this consciousness begin to become prevalent throughout society. And the thing is, if you look at your world today, you see and experience so much of what has been taught in New Thought. The idea of positive consciousness, the idea of, creating your own reality, the idea of if you have an expectation of good, there is a high probability that good is going to manifest in your life. The idea of goal planning, as simple as that, is a new consciousness, a new thought consciousness idea, that as I write out my goals, what am I doing? I'm laying out an intention for what I want to see made manifest in my life. And as I plan my goals and I work my plan will unfold in my life. And these things are taught in the secular world, if you will. They're taught even in some of the other theologies. They're just not necessarily associated as being a part of this New Thought consciousness. And yet it is from the New Thought philosophy, the teachings of this, that these ideas have worked their way into society. We can take a child today, and if we nurture that child up with a consciousness of positivity, with a consciousness that they can create a world for themselves, a better world for themselves, we create a citizen of the world that is unlike someone that is left to their own devices, someone that's heard that, if you come from a particular race or a particular country or a particular theology, or, you can name whatever the thing is that you're less than, that you cannot express yourself in the greater good, in the greater world, and it's just not true. The truth is that each and every one of us, whether you be male or female, whatever part of the world you come from, you can create for yourself. And these stories they unfold all the time. There's people that you see in life. There's people that you see on the TV. There's people you see in the movies. There's people you see in the news or you read in the newspaper about people that have these so-called miraculous experiences in their lives. And yet, there is a segment of our population that is now waking up to the fact that these are not miracles. These are just God playing out in God's way what God has meant for us to do and experience in our life all the way down the line. And we're opening ourselves up as humanity to that. And New Thought, religious science, New Thought, divine science, New Thought, unity, they are at the forefront of this teaching. People are leaving the old thought philosophies in droves, but they're feeling in even greater numbers a desire, an urge to connect spiritually. What are they trying to connect with? They're trying to connect with Source, with that which we call God, or we call it Source, or universal intelligence. And for those people that hold that we have to give it a particular name, I'm sorry. The universal oneness is universal one. And however we relate to that, that's all that counts for us as an individual. Not what someone else says that we need to address God as, or Source as, or whatever other name that we want to use for it. Not what someone else says that we've got to do in our daily routines to make ourselves subject to some kind of overbearing consciousness that is going to hold us under a level of judgment. But waking ourselves up to the fact that we are all some part of that greater good, and that all the resources of that greater good are here today. They are available for us. And as I started this segment out, I'm going to end out again with this idea. There was a teacher that came some 2,000 years ago, and he began to teach this. Unfortunately, his message got blurred with teachings about him. But as historians, biblical historians, are teaching today, and what is actually being taught in seminary, but not necessarily taught in churches, is the true message that he brought to the world. And on that note, we're going to take our next commercial break. I'll see you when we come back.
Hi, I'm Mike Briggs from Mike Briggs Properties. We're in some very uncertain economic times. Many people have lost their homes. Many people face losing their homes now. Know your rights, know your options. Come talk to the experts right here at Mike Briggs Properties. By the way, we'll talk to you for free. We do not charge any fees at Mike Briggs Properties. Call us at 486-6758. Mike Briggs Properties, 486-6758.
Lunch phone, what is your location, please?
I'm in Fresno's Tower District.
What is your budget, please?
I only have $7.
Well, that leaves you only one choice. Go directly to Bobby Salazar's in the Tower District. He is having a lunch special for $6.89.
Well, that won't leave me enough money to get a drink.
No worries. Bobby Salazar's in the Tower District will get you lunch and a drink for just $6.89.
Wow! I'm going straight to Bobby Salazar's in the Tower District to get the lunch special and drink for just $6.89.
Thank you for calling Lunch Phone. This has been a recording.
What?
Let our family at Avakian Insurance Services help protect your family's future. If you've bought a new home, changed vehicles, or just need a comprehensive review, let our agents help you. As your family grows, we can offer you competitive rates on life and health insurance. Call Avakian Insurance Services for a quote today. Avakian Insurance Services, 268-7386, or visit us online at avakianinsurance.com. Come join the A-Team.
This message was brought to you by Javita Coffee. Change your coffee, change your life, one cup at a time. Check us out at ilovejavita.com.
Watts Family Grill. We grill slow, smile, secret sauce, cold beer, and old friends. Park out back. Look for us on Blackstone, south of McKinley. Watts Family Grill.
Hi, Stan Gross of Horn Photo. Are you looking for a camera that takes better pictures than your phone? Why not give Horn Photo a shot? We can show you fantastic cameras from Nikon, Canon, Sony, and GoPro. Your time is valuable, so before you buy from Costco, Best Buy, or the internet, come see us. We've got great prices and deals, super knowledgeable staff, and we've been selling cameras in Fresno for 76 years. We're in the Villaggio at Blackstone and Nees, or go to hornphoto.com, Fresno's Camera Center.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Well, welcome back. It's New Thought Talk. I am the Reverend Steve Walling from the Spiritual Awareness Center located, like I always say, in beautiful downtown Madera. And I'm glad that you're with me today. We've been talking about the understanding of this Christ consciousness and the Christ within. And I want to take this thought a little bit further, and I want to read you some stuff here. It says, the mystics from ancient times have taught that there is but one ultimate reality, and that this ultimate reality is here now, if we could just see it. The great mystics have been illumined. They have seen through the veil of matter and perceived the spiritual universe. They have taught that the kingdom of God is now present, but it needs to be realized by each and every one of us. And that, my friends, is the core to understanding the truth of who we are, that there is a kingdom of God within each and every one of us that we can realize, and we can realize it in the here and now. So many of us live in thoughts and worries of the past or worries about a future, and neither one of those are a reality. The past is gone, we can't change it. The future's not here, and it is what it's going to be. But we have power in the right here and now. We have this moment, and we exercise that power through the one thing that God has given us that is just an incredible tool, and that is the power of choice. Now, you think, well, that just sounds so simple. It's just choice. But it is the power that we have. Because once we begin to understand that we can choose to experience a different circumstance in our reality, that by the mere fact of making that choice and opening ourselves up to it, that the universe itself responds to us, because that is the Christ within affecting the world without, and it is powerful, and it's something that is available to each and every one of us. The great mystics have taught that man should have no burdens, and would have none if he but turned to the one. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. As Jesus knew that it would be impossible for all men to come to him personally, he must have meant that we should come to him, to his understanding of life and reality. And that is the same that mystics prior to him and mystics since him have taught. It's coming to that reality. And the reality is that the present, here and now, is not devoid of a spiritualness, that God did not come down or make itself known to mankind and then disappear from our experience to be at some future date arrive to lay judgment on us or whatever. And differing philosophies have differing understandings, but that God is here today. That God has always been here, that God has never left, and that God is available to each and every one of us by whatever name that we choose to call it. And so what happens for each of us is we begin to feel this urge within inside ourselves. We begin to realize that there is something more to me, that there's something, and I'm looking for an understanding. I'm looking for a way to express it. I'm looking for a way to experience it. And we begin our spiritual journey. And think about it. Oftentimes, just in your day-to-day life, it might be a particular song that touches you, music that you've heard on the radio or something, and you begin to feel these vibrations, and you begin to experience something that is just a little bit different than the normal mundane stuff that you experience. And you go, boy, if I could only experience that all the time, if I could only have that feeling all the time. And yet I'm here, sitting here today, and I'm telling you that there are people that experience that more time out of their day-to-day experience than time that they don't. And they do it intentionally. They do it by making a choice to follow a spiritual path, to make a connection with the universe, with God itself, to not accept what happens as just being the de facto reality, but to understand that there is a greater truth, an absolute reality of a God that is a creator God, that is abundant, that is a God of love, that is ever available to each and every one of us. And so there was a fellow by the name of Judge Thomas Trord, and he said, and this is something that is so true, we have to be able to look a discordant fact in the face and see the absolute behind it. In other words, we can look at limitation in our lives and understand that that's not a reality that has to be, that there is a greater good and a greater God behind that limitation, behind that discordant fact that is available to us as we avail ourselves to it. So we begin to look around, and oftentimes we leave our old spiritual homes in search of something new. Take the time, do a little research. You will find that there is a New Thought community somewhere near you, that there is a science of mind or religious science or a center for spiritual living. There is a divine science. There is a unity. There are various ways that you can make connections through the internet and stuff, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in the next segment. But there is available to you this New Thought teaching, and it is empowering. And as you, and I'm not asking you to take it on my word. I'm not asking you to believe me just because I say it. What I'm asking you to do is to take the time to research it and to put it into practice in your life. Prove me right or wrong in your own life experience. Take and utilize it. Open yourselves up to this. Try spending some time in meditation every day. Try putting some affirmations to work in your life. Try to do this thing that Rev Steve's talking about practicing the presence of God in all that I do and in the interactions I am, and see what unfolds in your life. I'm asking you, I'm challenging you to go ahead and try it and see if it doesn't work. And I'm here to tell you that I have seen this work and unfold in so many different people's lives in ways that have amazed them. Young mothers that are single, that are experiencing trouble in their lives, that have taken this and they have begun to apply it in their lives, and their lives have changed. To young people that are beginning to start their life's journey, to watch it unfold in their lives, that the realization that they're not subject to what's going on around them, but that they can begin to create their own spiritual reality, which manifests and translates into a physical demonstration of reality, is incredible. To middle-aged and older people that have suffered under life's traumas and dramas, if you will, all this stuff, and all of a sudden come to a realization that they have a power within themselves to make a connection with God on such a personal and intimate level, and that as they do their spiritual pathway work, that this God responds to them, that there is a freedom that is available to them, and their lives change. They're from just so many incredible ways. And yes, the world is going to tell you that you can't do this and you can't do that. And almost seemingly, as you begin to start your journey, it seems like the resistance to you will at first wave up and become a little bit greater. But I'm telling you, my friends, stick with it, work with it, and have faith. And through faith, you will find the truth. And as you find the truth, you will find that it is the truth, literally, that sets you free. And that's why I said, when I said a while back, God is not truth. God, is how we ever define God. But when we say truth is God, the truth is the truth. And it is the truth, the knowing the truth, the understanding, and the discovering of that truth that frees us up, each and every one of us, to a greater good, to a greater life experience. And it is really wonderful. And I know I've said that over and over again, and I'll continue to say it over and over again, that there is a greater good that is available to you today. And if you're not experiencing it today, maybe it's time to make that choice to find out what this is all about, the choice to put it into practice in your life, the choice to be in control of your life experience, the choice to have an empowered life instead of a life of subjugation, a life of being subject to everybody else's whims. People oftentimes, they'll come to me and they'll say, my life would be fine if only, and you can fill in, if only my husband was a certain way, if only my job was a certain way, if only life was a certain way, if only. And I lovingly tell them that your life is a mirror of what you have going on within inside of you. It is not your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend that makes you happy or complete you. It is not your job that will fulfill your life experience. It's not anything outside of yourself. It is that which is within you, that which we call the divine within, the Christ consciousness, the greater good that is available to you when you open yourself up to it. And when you do, and you begin to make that connection, you begin to allow it to emerge from within you, and all of a sudden you begin to realize that happiness is not something that happens to me. Happiness is something that is me, that comes from within me. And in that happiness comes joy and love and harmony and peace and all these other things. And no matter what's going on around you, you have the power within you to have the experience that you choose, not what is imposed upon you. And this is just, I can go on talking about this for hours. Man, as a matter of fact, I do. You can come see me on Sunday out in Madera if you happen to be local here in the Central Valley. If not, you can check somebody else out in the local area. And we're going to talk about that as we go into as we finish up in our fourth segment today about where you can go to find out. But you can find out. You can learn. And there is no one, I don't care how young or how old you are, that cannot experience this in their lives, because God is available to you, and God is available to you right now in this moment. Don't ever forget that, my friends. And on that note, we're going to go to our next and last commercial break, and I will see you for our final segment when we come back.
Hi, I'm Mike Briggs from Mike Briggs Properties. We're in some very uncertain economic times. Many people have lost their homes. Many people face losing their homes now. Know your rights, know your options. Come talk to the experts right here at Mike Briggs Properties. By the way, we'll talk to you for free. We do not charge any fees at Mike Briggs Properties. Call us at 486-6758. Mike Briggs Properties, 486-6758.
Lunch phone, what is your location, please?
I'm in Fresno's Tower District.
What is your budget, please?
I only have $7.
Well, that leaves you only one choice. Go directly to Bobby Salazar's in the Tower District. He is having a lunch special for $6.89.
Well, that won't leave me enough money to get a drink.
No worries. Bobby Salazar's in the Tower District will get you lunch and a drink for just $6.89.
Wow! I'm going straight to Bobby Salazar's in the Tower District to get the lunch special and drink for just $6.89.
Thank you for calling Lunch Phone. This has been a recording.
What?
Let our family at Avakian Insurance Services help protect your family's future. If you've bought a new home, changed vehicles, or just need a comprehensive review, let our agents help you. As your family grows, we can offer you competitive rates on life and health insurance. Call Avakian Insurance Services for a quote today. Avakian Insurance Services, 268-7386, or visit us online at avakianinsurance.com. Come join the A-Team.
This message was brought to you by Javita Coffee. Change your coffee, change your life, one cup at a time. Check us out at ilovejavita.com.
Watts Family Grill. We grill slow, smile, secret sauce, cold beer, and old friends. Park out back. Look for us on Blackstone, south of McKinley. Watts Family Grill.
Hi, Stan Gross of Horn Photo. Are you looking for a camera that takes better pictures than your phone? Why not give Horn Photo a shot? We can show you fantastic cameras from Nikon, Canon, Sony, and GoPro. Your time is valuable, so before you buy from Costco, Best Buy, or the internet, come see us. We've got great prices and deals, super knowledgeable staff, and we've been selling cameras in Fresno for 76 years. We're in the Bellagio at Blackstone and Nees, or go to hornphoto.com, Fresno's Camera Center.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Well, welcome back. It's New Thought Talk. I am the Reverend Steve Walling from the Spiritual Awareness Center located in beautiful downtown Madera. And here we are. We're into our fourth segment, and man, the time just goes. But it's been a good day, and I got some more good stuff to finish up with. I want to read a couple more things to you here. The relationship between the individual, that's us, and the universal mind, that's God, is one of reflection. That is, what we image for ourselves, it images for us. It then follows that the very law which creates bondage is just as easily create freedom. What that means is God responds to us as we create from within ourselves. In other words, when we look around and we see lack and limitation in our life, that's us creating lack and limitation in our lives. And that can be hard for some people to swallow, particularly if you're sitting in the middle of lack and limitation. You're going, wait a second, I don't know about that. But it is true. And it is the truth when we understand it that sets us free. So, what you can do if that is your life experience, wherever that lack or limitation is, whether it be a lack of abundance in your life, a lack of love in your life, a lack of personal self-expression, a lack of health in your life, whatever it is, stop right now and stop feeding that consciousness and start with just an affirmation that there is a love and abundance that is available to me. Keep it simple. Don't get real complicated. That today there is a love and abundance that is available to me, and I accept that in my life. You can say that again. Today there is a love and abundance available to me, and I accept that in my life. And you just work that and let it percolate in the conscious mind. Let it settle into the subjective, subconscious mind, where it can take root. Just like we plant seeds in our garden. We go out, and it's this time of year where we're planting our gardens. If you plant a carrot seed, you're not going to get broccoli. If you plant a seed in your mind that says, I am without, you're not going to get abundance. So we want to change the seeds that we're planting in the fertile soil of our mind so that the greater consciousness of the divine can respond to us and create something that is better for us. But we are the gardener. We have to do the planting. It's not somebody outside of us that can do it for us. Even people that have the fortunate or sometimes unfortunate experience to have a abundance fall into their lives, like say they win the lottery. If they don't have a consciousness that is in alignment with their good, oftentimes their lives are destroyed by all this money that comes into their lives. Believe it or not, statistics bear this out through the various lotteries that we have going on around the country today. People that they win large sums of money, and either within several years they've gone through it and they're back in their original situation, or their life has fallen apart, it's gotten even worse. Not everyone, because there's some people as they begin to experience good, they work on creating a greater good in their life. Oftentimes they do it without even understanding the process that they're doing. But there is a process there, and it's available to each and every one of us. So the relationship between the individual and the universal is one of reflection. What we put out is what's going to come back to us. You may or may not have heard of this thing that we call the law of attraction. We attract from within ourselves, from what's in the outside world. In other words, as I think, so do I experience. For each and every one of us, that's what happens. That's the deal. We got to get that in consciousness. And although sometimes when we talk about it, that doesn't necessarily have a real spiritual feel to it. It is a very spiritual thing that's taking place, because it is the raw essence of the universe. It is the ultimate spirit, is that which we call God, or whatever else you want to call it. That is the responding nature to what we have planted in the seeds of our own mind. So when we plant seeds of goodness, when we plant seeds of love, when we plant seeds of abundance, when we plant seeds of peace and harmony, we begin to see those things come to fruition in our lives. And that's where it comes from. It's not from the outside. We can sit in the shade or move into the sunshine. Sitting in the shadow, we may not really believe that there is any sunshine. but the sun would be there all the time, and all the time we would be in bondage while real freedom exists. And isn't that what happens to so many of us? We sit in the shadow of our own consciousness of lack and limitation, of unworthiness. How many of us have grown up and as a result of something that, or maybe even a trend of something that has taken place in our childhood, we've grown up with a consciousness of unworthiness. I'm not good enough, smart enough, pretty enough, I'm the wrong race, I'm the wrong sex, I'm the wrong height, I'm the wrong size, I'm the wrong hair color, or whatever. It makes no difference. The truth is that we are all enough, each and every one of us. We are all created in the likeness and image. And as I said at the beginning of the show, that God is pervasive and everywhere. There's nowhere that God is not, and God is manifest as you, my friend, today. Whoever you are, wherever you're at, God exists as you. And that's always enough. But knowing that sometimes can be a little bit of a stretch, because the race consciousness society has told us for so many years that we're not enough, that we fall short of the glory of God, that we are born with original sin. There is no such thing as original sin. There's only original God. And all that follows is all of God made manifest. And when we come to that realization, that's when we begin to open ourselves up to the truth of who we are. And that's what New Thought is all about. And so, as I do each week in this fourth segment, I want to take a few moments now and talk about where you can go. Because, listen, if you're here in the Central Valley, show up in Madera on Sunday. We have our services at 10:30. Come celebrate with us. Learn about this New Thought, science of mind, consciousness. Begin to put it into practice in your life. Come on out and see me. I'd love to see you there, and I'm telling you, your life will change. But if you're not there in Madera, there are places that are near you. Hopefully they're near enough that you can get to on Sunday wherever you live. But if they're not near enough where you can get to on Sunday, they're near enough where you can communicate with. And how do you find these places? Because I know that you're online, because that's where you're watching this show, I know that you can also go online to a link that is called findascenter.com, findascenter.org. Either one will work. It'll take you to this webpage, and it'll have a map of the world. No matter where you're at in the world, put your cursor on the country that you're from, and if it's the United States, put it on the United States, put it on the state that you're from, and then it will take you to, you just follow the links down, it will take you to the center that is nearest to you wherever you live. Hopefully it's a center that you can get to, but if not, it's a center that you can at least get in contact with. There'll be an address, there may be a web page or a phone number. There'll be something there that you can reach out to this center. You let them know that you have heard about this thing called New Thought, religious science, or divine science, or unity, or whatever it is, and you are ready for a change in your life, and you would like to know what they have to offer. And I'm telling you, they will have plenty to offer you, whether it be from classes to books or whatever, but they're there. They're near you, somewhere, whatever part of the world you're in. And you can find a center at findascenter.com. And you can begin to make this spiritual journey into an incredible wonderment, an incredible life. And it's there and it's available to you. If for some reason you cannot do that, location or whatever, or maybe even if you are doing that, there is also another link that I want to refer you to, and that is the newthoughtlibrary.com. And if you go to newthoughtlibrary.com, you will find there a whole library full of books from pioneers of the New Thought philosophy, from the Phineas Quimbys that I mentioned, to the Fillmores that are the founders of Unity, Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, the Nona Brookses, and so on, from the various other different philosophies. There's a whole bunch of wonderful authors, and their books that are there that are available to you, that you can read, you can begin to get an idea of just how powerful you are. People like James Allen, who just really understood the power of the human consciousness and the spiritual mind and what it can do in manifesting your life. Or Ralph Waldo Trine, he was just an incredible thinker in the New Thought movement. Like I say, there's Thomas Troward and so on and so forth. These books are there. It's free. They're books that are available, and you can read them right online. You don't even have to leave your seat. You can do that, and you can begin to, and as you do that, then maybe, you decide, okay, and then you can go back to Find a Center and find that place that's near you that you can make that connection with. Those are powerful, powerful spiritual tools that are available to you online. And there are many more that are coming from this organization that's called Serving New Thought that will make it available to you. And also, you can keep in mind that we produce this show here. You can help support it by clicking the link that, if you're watching it live, that says donate to this show, or you can go to Madera SAC.com, and there is a link there for donation and donate, or you can find our physical address and you can send a check. It helps to offset our cost and to promote this teaching and to create a greater awareness and to allow us to share this to a greater part of the world. It is a powerful teaching. It is a teaching, obviously, that's near and dear to my heart, but it's something that, as Ernest Holmes believed when he wrote The Science of Mind, it is the teaching for our times. It is the teaching that will change the world, that it will usher in a consciousness that the world has never, ever seen before. But what an incredible idea and what an incredible consciousness. So I want to, just remind you, just take the time, spend the time on yourself. You are absolutely worth it. You are enough, just exactly who and what you are. And so with that, it's time for me once again to close up the show. And as I usually do, I want to share with you this thought. May the light of God surround you. May the love of God enfold you and the power of God protect you. May the presence of God watch over you. Because truly, wherever you are, God is, and all is well. Make it a great week, my friends. I'll see you in the future. Bye.
This segment brought to you by Javita Coffee. Are you losing weight drinking coffee? Find out how Javita can change your life.
Watch Tim Thiessen live Wednesdays at 3 p.m. right here on CentralValleyTalk.com and on digital channel 33.2. If you missed the live broadcast, we're on every Wednesday night at 11 p.m. on Comcast Channel 200 and digital channel 43.5. You don't want to miss this.
Hey, my name's Chris DeVold, the host of Sex Drugs, Chris DeVold. I've been on CentralValleyTalk.com for 8 months partying on Tuesday nights, but guess what? The party's moving nights. Now I'm on Friday nights at 8 p.m. Apparently the party was just too much on Tuesday nights. So join me on CentralValleyTalk.com, where I promise to bring you one live music act a week. Sex Drugs, Chris DeVold, Friday nights, 8 p.m. on CentralValleyTalk.com.
This just in. Tower District houses are selling for as little as $300 per month. If you have a job and decent credit, you can own your own home. If you can come up with a down payment, you can own a home a lot cheaper than you can rent, and your payment will never go up. Also, you could deduct most of your house payment from your income taxes. If you'd like to lock in your monthly house payment at $300 to $500 per month for the next 30 years, call Mike Briggs Properties, 486-6758. Mike Briggs Properties, 486-6758.
Hi, Stan Gross of Horn Photo. Are you looking for a camera that takes better pictures than your phone? Why not give Horn Photo a shot? We can show you fantastic cameras from Nikon, Canon, Sony, and GoPro. Your time is valuable, so before you buy from Costco, Best Buy, or the internet, come see us. We've got great prices and deals, super knowledgeable staff, and we've been selling cameras in Fresno for 76 years. We're in the Villaggio at Blackstone and Nees, or go to hornphoto.com, Fresno's Camera Center.
CentralValleyTalk.com